Welcome back.
Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like that. How long you been back, man? I see the girls in the club, they getting.
Welcome everybody to the Big Little Sports Review Show.
Welcome back!
Yes, welcome back. Thank you, Amelia. We've been gone for a little bit.
We had some
very-
technical difficulties because we couldn't download our last video.
Yeah.
We were on vacation for a very long time due to our airplane being canceled.
So we haven't posted a video in 3 weeks, but here we go. So we're back, and so we did get to watch some games and some stuff this week, even though we were out of town. First game we caught was the UF LSU game. That was a shootout.
Here's a fun fact about the game. That last game was the highest scoring game in history between LSU and Florida.
Yeah, that was pretty much back and forth. It was looking like it was going to go to overtime, but LSU ended up pulling it out 49-42.
Because of an interception.
Yeah, it seems like most of it. We've had a couple games in that way this week. Even our Liberty University. We can't even talk about that right now. But so that ended on interception. But what was crazy is, a couple days later, it was announced that the coach of LSU, Ed Orgeron, is not returning to the team next year. So both sides, both them and the school, has decided to part ways, which was kind of shocking because just 2 years ago they won the national championship. So
Really weird.
yeah, that doesn't.
And you won a shootout. Shootouts are one of the most difficult games to win. Difficult.
Yeah, actually, when I first heard the story, I was like, "Did LSU win this weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, they did." Like, that's crazy. The only other coach to to be fired or let go within 2 years of a championship was actually in the SEC as well, in Auburn in 2010 when they won the world championship, or not the world championship, NCAA
Championship.
Yeah. Then their coach Gene Chisnick was fired after a 3-9 2012 season. I guess it's the SEC doesn't mess around, so it's either win every year or you get fired.
If you don't do good, you don't stay. And if you take a really big dip under 500, you're so gonna be fired.
Yeah.
If you go like a little under, then that's not that bad of a situation, especially like if you're in like a smaller conference. But if you're in the SEC, everything is serious because you have Alabama, a total powerhouse, and Georgia too.
Yeah, that's how crazy the SEC is right there. There was also, speaking of the SEC, there was the battle of the undefeateds, Kentucky at Georgia, but that really didn't end up being much of a game.
It was domination.
Yeah, so Georgia won 30-13. So they've just been kicking butt, taking names all year, pretty much. So then the biggest upset of the day, you remember that one?
No.
The
Oh, I remember. Purdue, Iowa. I saw a meme for a second. It was a clip off of Sports Center. So there's a school bus and it says Iowa's perfect record. And then there's a train that comes running into it, destroys the school bus, and it says Purdue. That's pretty descriptive.
Yeah, Iowa was looking like they were pretty good, undefeated, and Purdue came out of nowhere.
They were gaga.
Yeah.
They only scored one touchdown.
One touchdown after rising to number 2 in the nation.
And now Cincy's number 2.
Yep. And then what else? Oh, so we had some local sports. The Greenville Triumph still doing well.
Greenville Triumph.
So
They're 2 points behind Chattanooga with 2 games remaining for second place. That's a lot of twos.
yeah, 2-2-2. So remember 2-2-2. So the 2 points, like you said, for the number 2, and they play Chattanooga this weekend. So that's a big game with only 2 remaining games. So they could pull this one out. They actually have not lost a game since August 28th. crazy.
And here's the thing. If Greenville wins their final game of the regular season after Chattanooga loses to them when they play,
Hopefully they lose to them.
then they would have clinched number 2 because it would be impossible for Chattanooga to get above them if they lost to them and they both won.
Yep. So that's the USL 1.
League 1.
League 1.
I discovered a little while ago that there's a USL League 2. So it's not just 2 leagues, it's 3 leagues. 3.
Yeah, that's crazy. A lot of soccer leagues coming up. Once was upon a time in the United States, there really wasn't much soccer at all.
In fact, the MLS was the first soccer league to be established in the U.S. other than NCAA soccer. And still, that was in 1995.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. The other thing going on right now is the MLB playoffs. So they're actually in the league championship series right now. It's a lot of right nows. So currently, Boston and Houston is tied up 2-2. That's been a pretty wild series. Boston had 2 grand slams in game 2 to win, and then that was in back-to-back innings in the first and second inning. Then they had another grand slam in game 3. So.
And also a little bit of history. The Red Sox broke 2 records in just 2 games. They're the first team to hit 2 grand slams in 1 postseason game, and they're the first team to hit 3 grand slams in 1 series.
Yeah, that's crazy. A lot of home runs. Yeah, mine is. That's exactly what the pitchers I've been feeling. Mind blown. And then the other series going on is LA Dodgers and Atlanta Braves. Braves are up 2-1 right now.
He's thinking of going back to the Braves again.
What's that?
He's thinking of going back to the Braves.
Now that we only live 2 hours away from Atlanta, I was a Braves fan
before the Marlins
came into existence. So I technically can go back if I want now, right?
Yeah. It's actually the better decision.
Yeah, the Marlins never win. Fun fact too is Atlanta actually had a walk-off hit for the win in game 2.
Also, they were one of the first 4 teams in history. First 4 teams in history of the MLB to walk it off 2 times in a series in a row.
That's crazy.
One of those 4 people, however, somehow lost the series. How does that happen? Tell me, how does that happen?
Because there's 7 games, so.
Yeah, but you only need to win 2 more games after you walk it off like that.
Well, true, but it happens. A lot of crazy things happen in sports. That's what makes sports fun. And then also Sebastian's favorite, WNBA.
Actually, not my total favorite, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but he does ask me a lot about what's going on with WNBA. What happened in WNBA?
Chicago won their first WNBA Finals championship. Also, this season was sponsored by Google. It was sponsored by Google.
Fun fact for the WNBA.
Also, this was the WNBA's 25th season.
That's pretty good. And I wonder how many years has Chicago been playing, do you know?
I don't know, but it's their first time winning.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up.
The Storm lost to the Mercury earlier in the playoffs, which is a really interesting game.
Well, was Storm supposed to do well?
Yes, they actually started the season 12-1.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
And they lost in the second round. However, it was a single elimination.
Yeah,
They're talking about removing the single games and replacing them with multiple game series.
Yeah, that kind of seems unfair. You get one shot.
Like you lose once, you're out.
You only get one shot.
Yeah, one shot like this. The NFL, it seems reasonable for that because
Well, yeah,
You can't play 3 games or 4.
A 3-game series would take almost a month. It'd be 3 weeks if you went to all 3 games. So can't do that. Speaking of the NFL, we got to wake up nice and early on Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. and watch the Dolphins and the Jags. Unfortunately, but fortunately for the Jags, they get their first win.
In a year.
Yeah. I called it though. I said
they were on a 399-day losing streak, and they refused to make it become a 400.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That the Dolphins always seem to be the ones that do something in the bad category.
I think the Dolphins might lose both of their games to the Jets. I think that win versus the Patriots was just a fluke.
Yeah, I mean, that Patriots game was pretty dominated by the Patriots. We had that lucky fumble at the end that got us to win, but nevertheless, Jags got their first win. They were super happy. Kicker, who they just signed this week, kicks 2 50-plus yard field goals to beat the Dolphins.
And they hadn't made any field goals previous to that game this season.
Any, or just any 50?
Any, none, nada, 0, zip.
That makes sense why they just signed a kicker this week. You also had another overtime game, so
6 straight weeks, but there's still no ties.
Still no ties. Sebastian's dying for a tie. He just wants someone to tie.
There's been over 10 overtime games this season, and then 0 ties. 0.
Yeah, it's funny that you go to overtime that many times, but not a single one has ended in a tie. But cool thing about that one is KJ Osborne caught the winning touchdown pass. He is a Miami Hurricane alum. He played for the Hurricanes a couple years ago. Yeah. He actually played for University of Buffalo and then transferred to Miami for 1 year. He did pretty well, and he's starting to turn out to be a pretty good player for the Vikings.
I just realized what it could say if you shorten University of Buffalo. You buff. You for university, buff for Buffalo.
Like you are buff.
You buff.
You buff.
You buff.
The other game of note is Arizona played Cleveland, which we would have thought it was going to be domination. We would have thought it was going to be a close game.
The Browns have been the most disappointing team this season. Both of us predicted them to get into the Super Bowl. I predicted them to win the Super Bowl. There's no way they're even going to make it to the conference championship.
Well, I wouldn't say no way. I mean, teams could always turn it around. You never know. But nevertheless, Arizona, the Cardinals, seem to be kicking butt.
Undefeated.
Yeah, they're still undefeated. They're the only undefeated team, right?
Yep.
Yep. So they beat.
And the Lions are the only winless team.
Yeah. So they beat Cleveland 37-14. Could have been 37-7. Cleveland actually threw a
Hail Mary
pass.
Slinging it.
Yeah, right before half, and they made it. And then you had Buffalo, Tennessee, the big game. Big game, when was it? Was that a Sunday night or Monday night game? That was a Monday night game, right?
Night.
So yeah, Buffalo, local, they've just been tearing up people lately. And
yeah, they have 2 shutouts this season. The rest of the NFL only has 1 shutout. 2-1.
So Buffalo's defense was looking dominant, until they ran into Tennessee.
Henry.
So they lost 31-14 to the Titans. Note of that, Henry.
Made a few huge rushing.
We had the one that was like a 70-yarder or something.
Yeah, I saw the clip of that. He looked like a monster on that play. A beast.
Yeah.
But so first off, he breaks through like a group of 3 defenders. Then there's a safety who's
Actually,
nobody.
that clip I showed you was from a couple years ago. But
no, I saw it on ESPN.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the one that I was.
So he ran through 3 defenders at first. Then there's a safety uncovered. He's like, oh, he's not gonna run that fast. Henry is running 21 miles per hour. How do you expect him not to run fast?
All right.
And then he's just blazing his way to the end zone.
So he had a big game. He ran for 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. Looks
I'm
like
surprised it's only 143 rushing yards. I
Yeah.
thought it should have been like 200.
143 is a lot. But he's looking like he's going to get his second. I mean, he's working his way towards getting his second 2,000-yard season.
And maybe even breaking the record.
Maybe even
for
break
most.
with the extra game this year. I think he probably could have a pretty good, chance of breaking the record held by Eric Dickerson, who ran for 2,105 yards in 1984. So it's been a long.
The original record was held by Jim Brown, my hero, running back.
That's cool.
If only you had like a fantasy draft with people that used to play, that would be awesome. Like getting like Jim Brown in your running back position. Okay, what's next?
We finally have some golf for you golf fans
CJ.
out there. The CJ Cup wrapped up this weekend. So
And they might have had a DJ at the CJ.
yeah, DJ at the CJ Cup.
DJ at the
DJ Rory
CJ.
McElroy captured his 20th PGA Tour victory.
Of his career.
So that was amazing that he got a victory. But even more amazing is this shot from Abraham Answer. So let's check this out and see.
And here's a hit, and it's going in the distance. And it's going, and it's rolling towards the hole, I think. And it's probably rolling towards the hole. And it is! The shadow of the flag came up, and it's I think a 200 plus yard hit.
Just like
Crazy.
it was funny too. Like when you see it too. Like he didn't even know that he had made it. He was like looking up like, did it go in? Did it not? And someone from down there told him that he made it. So, golf fans, you have to appreciate that one. So that was good.
Paul,
right?
that's for you.
Oh.
So yeah, so that's that was all the sports that we saw this
And
week.
let's talk about some sports games that you should watch.
Yeah,
this
so
weekend.
what you should watch this week.
This week, because some of them are going to be like tonight. So hopefully you're watching this tonight.
Yeah. So tonight you have the Major League Championship series are still going on. Excuse me. So you have Houston and Boston is the first game tonight at 5. So these games have already been over with when you see them tomorrow. But check them out tomorrow morning. Houston, Boston game 5 at 5. Atlanta and the Dodgers at 8.
102
game 4.
and Dodgers. 102.
The NBA has already tipped off. Actually, last night the Milwaukee beat Brooklyn. The Lakers lost to Golden State, so that was a surprise. But
Golden State.
first game of the season really doesn't mean much. There's another.
That's a rematch for Curry after losing to the Lakers.
Yeah, and that wild card game.
Not the wild card.
What do they call it?
Play-ins.
The play-in game. I knew wild card play-in, something like that. But yeah, but tonight is the first full night of games. So
Wahoo!
other than the 4 teams that played last night, you have everybody else playing tonight. Go Heat! Let's go Heat! See if they can what they can do this
Rebound.
year.
I mean, technically they don't need a rebound considering that they lost to the NBA Finals champion.
Yeah, but it was in the first round, so still, I mean, it's always better to lose to the champion for sure.
Than to lose to the loser.
Yeah, and then you have the big, not that big of a college weekend, but Clemson is playing the Pittsburgh Panthers. A loss for Clemson could mean the end of a 6-year ACC championship streak.
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh no for them, but oh yes for the rest of the ACC. We finally get a chance.
Last season they won against Notre Dame. Notre Dame was undefeated that season too, and then they lost in the ACC championship.
Yeah, but
That's disappointing.
the thing about that was Trevor Lawrence was hurt during the first game that they played Notre Dame. But anyways, then for the NFL, You have Cincinnati at Baltimore. So Cincinnati's having a good season this year. They're 4-2. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Thomas.
How did you get Lamar
That's
Thomas?
for you old Dolphin Hurricane fans, Lamar Thomas. But Lamar Jackson is having an MVP season. He has the Baltimore Ravens at 5-1. So this is a big game for Cincinnati. For a win would tie them in the division, and a win for Baltimore would put them up 2 games in the division.
Okay, so here's a little stat for you guys. Last season, the Bengals finished at 4-11-1.
And they already have 4
They already have 4 wins and just 2 losses.
Yeah, that's crazy.
6 games, you already have as many wins as you did in the 16-game season.
Sebastian, you forgot to say one thing, and I just need to hear you say it because it's awesome. So what kind of game is this?
Divisional! Divisional! Okay, now here's my old person voice. Divisional! Divisional!
So yes, it's a divisional game.
Ouch.
But okay, so that's all for our show today. Hope you enjoy. We'll be back again soon. And that's the Big
Little Sports Review Show.
Bye, y'all.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Who'd have thought they'd lead you?